After hearing a lot about this super budget Daytona Homage from Ben Air, I finally gave up and bought one for review. At $32 price tag, is it any good? Well, let's find out. Hello and welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, we do watch reviews and talk about watches, so of course do join us if this is your thing by hitting the big red subscribe button. In the usual format, we will go over dimensions and specifications of this watch, cover what is good and what is not so good, check for any quality control issues, and of course try to arrive to some conclusion at the end. After doing a brief online research, looks like Ben Air have carved itself a niche in the budget price bracket, and where they cannot win by design, functionality or usage of any fancy materials, they pull out their two main aces: good looks, which they usually cannot take any credit for, and a very competitive price. So, price. Okay, as I mentioned in the introduction, the watch is priced at $32 on AliExpress, and as usual, there is a possibility of getting some discount codes or deals to knock down that price even further. Alright, design. So, of course, this watch is a homage to a legendary Pagani design. Sorry, can't help it. Well, let's try again. So, this watch is a homage to a legendary Zenith Chronomaster Sport… What? Wrong again. Well, maybe third time lucky. Okay, so this watch is a homage to a legendary Rolex Daytona, nicknamed Panda for its black and white colorway. The only major difference in this watch to Rolex, well, apart from of course everything else, is inclusion of date window, which personally I like. I think it makes it a little bit more practical. Package. This is a decent packaging in my opinion, which seems practical and also looks good. Keeping in mind the price point of this watch, we have a branded cloth, user manual and the guarantee card, and of course the watch with a tag. Dimensions. We have just over 39mm diameter bezel, we have 20mm lugs, good size, there are plenty of different straps and bracelets available for this lug width. The height of the case is 11.8mm, lug tip to lug tip is just over 48mm. And I like that we have inverted end links, makes this watch very versatile when it comes to various wrist sizes. And looks like this watch can be well suited for the wrist starting from about 6 inches. I will show how this watch sits on about 6¼ inch wrist later in this video, as well as of course on mine about 7-inch wrist. On the supplied stainless steel bracelet, this watch weighs about 135 grams. The bracelet tapers down towards the clasp to about 18mm at full length. This bracelet will cover a wrist of about 8¼ inch or 21 cm in circumference. Dial. The dial leaves very little doubt to what watch this one is paying homage to. We have applied our markers, a minute chaptering printed around the perimeter and the date window at 4:30 position. And we have 3 sub-dials. I will go into more details about the sub-dials in a moment when we look at the functionality and the movement used in this watch. We have an hour and a minute hands and a running second hand in the center, and there is one subtle detail which gives this dial a bit more bling, if you like, that is an almost mirror finished rehaut. There is lume, it is very basic, but it is present, which is good. The wording with the subtle red accents is well placed and kinda just right in my opinion. In general, I must say the dial is quite well executed, everything is in the right places, the printing is crisp and very legible. The date cutout is not the smoothest, but the rough edges are only visible at close-up or under magnification. There is a minor quality control issue on this watch, you probably already noticed, but if not, I will talk about it in a moment. Crystal. In terms of the crystal, Ben Air used Hardlex here based on their specification, which is a type of mineral glass, perfectly acceptable at this price point in my opinion, and here we can actually clearly see it if we compare it to another watch with a sapphire crystal. Case. Moving on to the case, we have what appears to be a stainless steel construction. However, based on the price point and on a tiny scratch on the inside of the case, it looks like it is rather plated or coated. Not a big deal at this price point, I guess, but I didn't want to scratch a new watch just to prove the point. So if any of our viewers have this Benneye chronograph and for whatever reason managed to scratch the case, please let us know in the comments if this is coated or not. Other than that, we have what appears to be a mirror finishing all around. We also have two screw-down pushers and a crown protected by the crown guards. The crown is not screwed down, just a simple push-pull operation. Also, it is not signed, as we can see. Looking at the back case, it is a snap-on back case rather than a screw-on. The snap-on back case is made of stainless steel and we have an O-ring rubber seal here, which is good. Benneye stated a 30 meters of water resistance on this watch, which again, taking into account absence of screw-down crown and a snap-on case back, makes perfect sense. So it is safe to do day-to-day activities like wash your hands or maybe even get under occasional rain, but other than that, it would be a good idea to keep this watch away from the water. Bezel, and we have what appears to be a fixed ceramic bezel. Initially I thought it was plastic, but at a close inspection it seems to be cool and shiny, and the tachymeter scale seems to be engraved on it rather than printed. So this is a good news because the ceramic bezels tend to be much more scratch resistant and keep their shiny smooth appearance for much longer. Movement. Now, this watch has one of those budget quartz chronograph movements with a running center second hand, which is a bit odd on a chronograph. It is still a fully functional chronograph though, but if you're used to having the center second hand to be part of the chronograph, well, this one is not. So it is, as I mentioned, a quartz movement. It hangs and it has a date. We have 3 subdials. One at 3 o'clock is the current time 24-hour subdial, and the 6 o'clock subdial is a chronograph seconds, and the subdial at 9 o'clock is a chronograph minutes, counting up to 60 minutes. Now, in regards to the chapter rings on the subdials of the chronographs, we can see that the markings are only every 5 seconds or every 5 minutes on the minute accumulator subdial, which is not ideal. Also, as you probably noticed, there is a small quality control issue on the chronograph minute subdial hand, not resetting exactly to 0. I guess it can be easily corrected, however, it would be of course better if this quality control issue wasn't there at all. The operation of the crown is smooth and snappy. In regards to the actual movement model or any other specifications, the only information I could find was actually whatever was imprinted on the movement itself, and it's LD53 Langexin model of the movement, and that's pretty much about it. Bracelet. We have a hollow end links, which is kind of okay at this price point. On the positive side though, the end links are well sculpted and fit pretty well with the lux curvature. And these are inverted end links, which makes this watch very wearable on the different wrist sizes. And here this watch is on a 6¼ inch wrist. And here it is on mine, about 7-inch wrist. We have what appears to be a nice solid link bracelet. We have mirror polished center parts of the links and a brushed outer parts, and again polished sides of the links. We have a push pin adjustments here, not screws, which is at this price point I'm not going to complain about. And looking at the clasp is very basic. It has a double pusher mechanism and it is only pressed clasp. It works okay with the overall aesthetics of the watch, however there is no macro adjustments and we don't have any half links here either. So adjusting it precisely to your wrist would be a bit of a hit and miss exercise. Okay, the good, the bad and the ugly. Well, as I mentioned in the beginning, looks like Benneye pulls no punches here in exercising 2 of their key aces. We get a very good looking watch at a very low price. So This is good, and if you want to dip your toes in the Rolex homage waters, so to speak, and see how this Pendant Daytona homage might look on your wrist, this could be a good place to start. However, personally, I think they cut one too many corners here. I guess they could have given us maybe a side crown or solid end links or more practical clasp that would allow for better adjustments, and I'm not sure about the choice of the movement either. Yes, it is a fully functional chronograph, however, I think it would be nice to at least mimic the functionality of the mechanical one, and of course not very useful chapter rings on the chronograph subdials. Well, what do you think? Or the iconic looks and a super competitive price tag is good enough to overlook all those little imperfections? Well, please let us know in the comments. And of course, if you find this review helpful, do smash that like button, and we've got a lot of interesting reviews coming up, so don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one.